Here's why you play Thamuz, the Lord Lava in the EXP lane. First off, he possesses high sustain, allowing him to stay in lane longer and dominate his opponents. Thamuz has excellent damage over time with his skills, and he's incredibly tanky, making him a formidable presence in team fights. However, Thamuz is quite predictable in his skill usage and can be easily kited by ranged heroes if not played carefully. Thamuz's passive ability, Grand Lord Lava, allows his basic attacks to have a chance to conjure a burst of lava energy on a target when holding his scythes. This lava energy will erupt after 0.7 seconds, dealing true damage. On the flip side, when Thamuz is without his scythes, he gains extra movement speed and will enhance his knight's basic attack after retrieving his scythes. This enhanced basic attack is sure to slow the enemy by a small amount and is guaranteed to trigger lava energy. Thamuz's skill 1, Molten Scythes, throw his scythes in a designated direction, dealing damage and stopping on the first enemy hit. The scythes will stay at the endpoint for a few seconds, continuing to deal damage over time to nearby enemies. After a short delay, the scythes will return to Thamuz, dealing additional damage to any enemies they hit on the way back. You should utilize Molten Scythes to poke enemies from a distance, clear minion waves, and set up for your other skills. Thamuz's skill 2, Chasm Leap, leaps to a designated direction, dealing damage to all enemies in the area and slowing them. The main part of this skill is that when his scythes are out, they will be pulled back to him immediately when casting the skill, dealing damage to any enemies they hit. You should use Chasm Leap to engage or disengage fights, and always try to use the enhanced basic attack from his passive after retrieving the scythes to maximize your damage output. Thamuz's ultimate, Cultural Inferno, ignites the area around him, dealing damage over time to nearby enemies, while also gaining a significant boost of health. While his ultimate is active, Thamuz regenerates HP with every attack, making him extremely durable in fights. This ult will last for 9 seconds, and it will also increase his attack speed by a significant amount. You should activate his ultimate in the middle of fights or when you're surrounded by enemies to maximize your healing and damage output. A basic skill combo for Thamuz is to use skill 1 into skill 2 into skill 1 again. On all combos, use skill 1 into skill 2 into his ultimate, into skill 1, and spam basic attacks to maximize Thamuz's damage output. Moving on to builds, I suggest building Tough Boots, Corrosion Scythe, Golden Staff, Demon Hunter Sword, and 2 defensive items. I'm using Blade Armor and Athena's Shield here. These are the emblems that go along with this build. As per usual, I suggest more experienced players to build items depending on the enemy team's composition instead of using a pre-built setup to maximize your win rate. As for battle spells, Vengeance can be useful for reflecting damage back to enemies, increasing your overall damage output and resistance in fights. Alternatively, Flicker is a versatile choice for Thamuz, giving him an additional escape or engage tool, or even Petrify to include a minimal crowd control ability into Thamuz's kit. Next up, I suggest to upgrade skill 1 at level 1 and prioritize upgrading skill 1 with skill 2 as backup. Upgrade the ultimate whenever it is available. Onto our tips and tricks. Thamuz excels in prolonged fights due to his high sustain and DOT. When playing Thamuz, focus on controlling the lane by constantly harassing your opponent with Molten Scythe and utilizing your passive to apply pressure. Thamuz's ability to outlast his opponents in extended duels makes him a dominant force in the EXP lane. In team fights, your role is to dive into the enemy backline, use Chasm Leap to disrupt and damage multiple enemies. Activate his ultimate, Cultural Inferno, as soon as you engage to maximize your damage output and sustain in the middle of fights. This will make you incredibly hard to kill, especially with items like Bloodlust Axe if you plan on using it that will provide additional lifesteal. Positioning is crucial when playing Thamuz. Always try to engage from angles where you can hit multiple enemies with Molten Scythes, and be ready to use Chasm Leap either to engage or to escape if the situation turns against you. Thamuz is vulnerable to being kited by ranged heroes, so it's essential to close the gap quickly and stick to your targets. Make sure to time your ultimate and other skills to maximize their effectiveness, especially when the enemy team's crowd control abilities are on cooldown. With the right positioning, timing, and even skill usage, Thamuz can easily dominate the EXP lane and become a key player in team fights to allow your team to get that sweet victory.